May the word fall upon us fresh and new. Fill us through and through. Take root in us and bear fruit. Amen. Where is your faith? Where is your faith? Where is your faith in God? The disciples had heard Jesus teaching on the mountain. They had heard him say, "Everyone who hears my words and puts them to use will be like one who builds his house upon a rock, able to withstand the winds and the rains and the storms of life. But whoever does not put my words into practice will be like one who builds his house on sand, less able to stand and withstand." After a day of teaching and healing, Jesus got in his boat to go to the other side of the lake, across the Sea of Galilee into Gentile territory, and the disciples followed him. But suddenly, a violent storm came up, and the waves swept over the boat. Where is your faith? And Jesus was asleep. Matthew says it's simply Jesus was asleep. But Mark says he was in the back of the boat, sleeping with his head on a pillow, cushion, whichever translation you read. The disciples woke him and said, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." And again, Mark says a little bit differently. He says, "Carest not that we perish? Where is your faith?" Jesus said to the disciples, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid? Where is your faith?" Then Jesus got up and rebuked the wind and the waves. He rebuked the waves and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And immediately everything was still. And those who were in the boat with Jesus then began questioning one another. What kind of man is this, that even the winds and the waves obey him? Where is your faith? Then on another day, after Jesus had done this miraculous feeding of that more than 5,000 people with 5 loaves and a couple of fish, and after they had gathered up all 12 baskets full of broken pieces of bread and fish, it's like I like to say, all the disciples got takeout. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on the other side of him while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had dismissed the crowds, Jesus went up on a mountainside to pray. When evening came, Jesus was there alone, but by now the boat was a considerable distance from shore, about halfway across the lake, being tossed by the waves because the wind was against it. During the 4th watch of the night, or between 3 and 6 a.m. in the morning, they're in the darkest part of the night, Jesus went out to the disciples, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw Jesus walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. Where is your faith? In the darkest part of the night, when you can feel the darkness all around you but can't see the light, where is your faith? In the darkest part of night, when you can't see how to put one foot in front of the other to move forward, where is your faith? In the darkest part of the night, when you are uncertain if the ground will give way beneath you, where is your faith? Immediately, Jesus says, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." When I used to get up and go walking early in the morning before the sun came up, I would come to this place during my walk that was the darkest part of the walk. There were no street lights. There were no porch lights on. There were trees on both sides, and were it not for the moonlight or flashlight, I wouldn't be able to see. But beyond this darkest spot, there was a shopping center, and there were lights on at the shopping center. So I was able to keep going on my walk because I knew that there were lights ahead. And I knew it because I had seen the lights before. So Peter then said, "Well, Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you on the water." And you know, in some translations of that, they say, Peter says, "Tell me to come to you on the water." But in that NRSV that we have heard read to us this morning, he says, "Command me to come to you on the water." Not a simple ask, not a polite tell, but command me with the authority by which you call creation into being at the beginning when you said, "Let there be." And Jesus said to Peter, "Come." And Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and made his way towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Now, I've been telling that story for some time, and this was a long time ago. Back in 2006, I was going to Columbus, Ohio to do a workshop for the ECW Triennial. And I had gotten the invitation, I would say maybe a year before, but certainly some months before. And I had been working on it. I was all excited and glad to go and looking forward to it and going and presenting my workshop to all these folk who had gathered for the ECW Triennial. And my workshop was going to be on a Sunday, and it was Saturday, and I had a flight out at 1 o'clock. Went to catch my flight. Delayed again and again. And finally, by 7:30 that night, they canceled it all together. As we were deplaning for the final time. You can imagine I was not real thrilled. I was pretty upset. I might have even shed a tear. Because at that point, I felt like I didn't see much hope of getting there in time to do my workshop that I've been preparing for and planning for and looking forward to for months now. And thanks to an agent working at the airport who worked real faithfully, real diligently, by 11:45 that night, I was boarding a plane to Detroit. She had hooked me up something. And I was going to get to Detroit, stay in the airport overnight, fly out early in the morning so that I could get to Columbus for my workshop presentation. At 11:45 a.m. Sunday morning, I was walking into the convention center in Columbus, Ohio, just minutes before my workshop was to begin at noon, wearing the same clothes from the day before, but I had washed up in that Detroit bathroom because they got nice bathrooms. And I had always ended that story whenever I told it. I always ended at the part, immediately Jesus reached out and caught his hand, because that was meaningful to me. I needed to know when I was sinking that immediately he was going to reach out and catch me. But as I was going to present that story that day, under those circumstances, Spirit spoke to me and told me to go to the next line that says, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Why did you doubt? And there's a question, when Jesus asked Peter that, what was he asking? Who did you doubt? Why did you doubt me? Or why did you doubt you? Or who is it that you were doubting? Why is it that after God has been there to rescue us time and time again, he has saved us again and again, and once and for all, we doubt? Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Then after they had climbed into the boat, the winds died down, and those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Where is your faith? One more example I got. Jesus had appeared to, the resurrected Jesus had appeared to the women. He had appeared to those other disciples who were there when he came. But Thomas, the one called Didymus, one of the 12, was not there when Jesus appeared to the other disciples, when they were behind closed doors, locked for fear of the Jewish leaders. So when the other disciples told Thomas, "We have seen the Lord." And you know what Thomas said. "Unless I see the hand marks, the marks in his hands, unless I put my fingers where the nails were, unless I reach out and put my hand in his side, I will not believe." 3 times Jesus had told the disciples, "We are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed. He will be condemned to death. He will be mocked and flogged and crucified. But on the 3rd day, he will be raised to life." It was the 3rd day. How many times has the Lord shown up for us, saved us, provided for us, protected us, and the next time we don't believe? Well, Jesus came again a week later, and the disciples were there in the same house, and Thomas was there this time. And though the doors were locked, Jesus appeared to them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here see my hands? Put your hand in my side. Stop doubting and believe. And it was then that Thomas declared, my Lord and my God. Because you have seen me, Jesus said, you have believed. But blessed are those who believe and have not yet seen. Jesus calls us. Those of us who would follow after him, those of us who would call ourselves his disciples, he calls us from wonder or wondering, what kind of man is this? To worship, truly, you are the Son of God. To witnessing, my Lord and my God. He calls us to those places and to those spaces, to those circumstances and situations, so that we can come nearer to him, so that we can see him clearer, so that we could become more like him, so that we could become all that he has dreamed, imagined, and created us to be. And he assures us that he is in the boat. He is in the room. He is in the deep. There, and he will not let us down. He will not let us drown, but there to make us stronger swimmers. He will not let the earth beneath us give way, but is there to hold us up or lift us should we fall. Where is your faith? Where is your faith? Where is your faith in God? Amen.